Bear down. Dexter Lawrence wants out of New York, and Pat Leonard of the New York Daily News is not saying stalled. He's saying broken. No calls, no contact. The Giants are already talking to teams about a trade. Ian Rappaport had already said impasse. Leonard goes further, dire, and real possibility in the same paragraph. That is not smoke. That is fire aimed directly at Halas Hall. 21 sacks over 3 seasons, never below third in the entire NFL as a run defender. Picture that man lined up next to Gervon Dexter with Montez Sweat on the edge under Dennis Allen. That is not a defensive line. That is a death sentence for Aaron Jones. For Jared Goff for any offense in the NFC North, and the space that front creates for Caleb Williams is exactly what Ryan Poles is chasing right now. But while Chicago is looking at New York, Max Crosby is still a ghost that will not go away. Baltimore sent him back. The Raiders say he wants to stay. And yet Beckman from Fansided has the Bears as the ideal fit at a price that has already hit rock bottom. If Lawrence does not happen, Crosby becomes the urgent conversation, and the Cowboys and the Bills are already looking. And if that were not enough, there is something happening right now in Springfield that most fans are not even tracking yet. Indiana already passed their legislation. Illinois is still deliberating, and Governor J.B. Pritzker has something in his hands that goes way beyond football, because if the Bears cross into Hammond, Chicago does not lose a team. It loses its identity. All of that in the next few minutes. If you are part of the Real Bear Nation and you trust the Ryan Poles process, hit that like button right now and subscribe. The monsters of the Midway are being built. Bear down. All right, let's talk about this one, because y'all don't understand how big this could be. Dexter Lawrence wants out of New York. That part is not new. What is new, what changes the entire landscape this week, is what Pat Leonard of the New York Daily News dropped. He is not calling it a stalemate. He is not calling it an impasse. He is calling it dire. The contract negotiations between Lawrence and the Giants have broken off completely. No phone calls, no meetings, nothing. Ian Rappaport from NFL Network had already used the word impasse, but Leonard went further and confirmed that the Giants have talked to teams about a trade and that it is a real possibility the Giants move him. Fam, when a beat reporter of that caliber puts the words broken off and real possibility in the same paragraph, that is not smoke. That is a 5-alarm fire, and Halas Hall better have their phones ready. Now let's talk about who this man actually is, because some people hear one down year and they write a player off. Not here. In the 3 seasons before 2025, Dexter Lawrence racked up 21 sacks. His PFF grades as a pass rusher never dropped below 9th in the entire league. As a run defender, he never ranked below third in the entire NFL. That kind of interior dominance is almost impossible to find. Why did he fall off in 2025? Elbow surgery, dislocated. And if you understand the mechanics of a defensive tackle, you know that the elbow is absolutely critical for generating leverage at the point of attack. The man played hurt on a franchise that won almost nothing, and the scouts around the league are still telling reporters he is one of the most disruptive defensive players alive when healthy. That tells me everything I need to know. Think about what this roster looks like in navy and orange. Montez Sweat on the edge, Gervon Dexter developing on the interior, Grady Jarrett as the veteran anchor. Now slide Dexter Lawrence in next to them in a defense that Dennis Allen is coordinating. That is not a defensive line. That is a problem that no offensive coordinator in the NFC North wants to solve. Aaron Jones is not finding a crease. Jared Goff is not having time. Nobody is comfortable. The real question is what it costs. And here's where it gets real. The Giants are probably asking for a first-round pick plus more, maybe a second or a third. I know that stings when you're sitting on pick 25 and 2 second-round selections. But think about the big picture. Caleb Williams is in year 2 of his rookie deal. The window to contend with a quarterback on that contract is right now, not 3 years from now. Right now, Da Bears have to move. Look, I could be wrong. Maybe the Giants ask for too much. Maybe that elbow is scarier on paper than it looks in person. But if Chicago passes on Dexter Lawrence and he ends up in Detroit or Green Bay, that is going to hurt for a long, long time. Drop it in the comments right now, bro. Do you trade the 25th pick plus a second for Dexter Lawrence? Yes or no? I want to see the debate. And while the Bears are staring at New York, Las Vegas is still making noise too. Max Crosby again, the man that Chicago almost had back in March, who then got shipped to Baltimore, who Baltimore sent back because of health concerns, and who is now sitting back in Las Vegas telling everyone he wants to stay a Raider. But here is the reality of this business. NFL analyst Jake Beckman at Fansided put Crosby on his list of 7 players who make the most sense to trade during the draft, and he named the Chicago Bears as the ideal landing spot. His argument is clean. Crosby's trade value hit the floor the moment Baltimore reversed course. The only direction his value moves from that point is up. If a team grabs him now, they do it at a discount, and unlike the Baltimore deal, which reportedly cost 2 first-round picks, Beckman projects the current price at 1 first plus a second or third. That is a very different conversation. Now, do I actually see Ben Johnson pulling the trigger on something this flashy on draft night? Honestly, not really. Johnson is calculated and composed. He is not the type to make an emotional blockbuster call on impulse. And the health question around Crosby is still real. Baltimore did not send him back for nothing. But here's the point that matters. If the Bears land Dexter Lawrence, the Crosby conversation is closed. If they do not get Lawrence, Crosby becomes the urgent backup plan because this defense needs interior pressure. Montez Sweat cannot do everything from the edge alone. Dennis Allen's system needs disruption from the inside, and it needs it now. Meanwhile, the Cowboys and the Bills are also circling, so the window is not open forever. All right, different topic, but equally important for the future of this franchise. Bears leadership is in meetings right now. Today, with Governor J.B. Pritzker's staff, they are pushing what is being called the Mega Projects Bill, a piece of legislation that would freeze property tax assessments for any project costing at least $500 million in Illinois. In plain English, that means financial certainty to build the new stadium in Arlington Heights. The problem is the bill cleared a House committee back in February, but still has not received a full floor vote. And while Illinois is stuck in Springfield bureaucracy, Indiana already passed its own legislation to create a stadium authority in Hammond using taxpayer money. Translation, Indiana is moving fast and playing offense. Illinois is moving slow. For Bears fans in the Windy City, this matters more than most people realize. Because if this team crosses that border into Indiana, Chicago does not just lose a football team, it loses a piece of its identity. The Halas family, George Halas, Soldier Field, the lakefront. Bear down, that is not just history, that is culture. The clock is running, and the question nobody wants to say out loud is whether Illinois is taking this seriously enough before it is too late. Noticia for Elmach de Brugler, Bears Moto Defensa, and to close things out on a slightly calmer note, Dane Brugler of The Athletic dropped his 7-round mock this week for Chicago. The message is clear. If there is no blockbuster trade, Ryan Poles uses those 4 picks in the top 89 to build through the trenches. Pick 25, T.J. Parker, edge rusher out of Clemson, elite motor. Power fundamentals still developing his counter moves. Brugler projects him as a solid NFL starter, and with Montez Sweat already anchoring the room, Parker does not have to be the guy on day one. He has time to grow. Pick 57, Dominique Orange, defensive tackle out of Iowa State, not a pass rusher, but as a nose tackle, he can be immovable against the run. That is exactly what this defense needs on early downs. Pick 60, Jalen Kilgore, safety out of South Carolina. With Byard and Brisker gone, this position is urgent, high risk, high reward. If Brugler's evaluation holds up, this is the kind of bet you take in round 2. Pick 89, Jake Slaughter, center out of Florida. Drew Dahlman's retirement still stings. Garrett Bradbury is the bridge. Slaughter could be the long-term answer at the position. Solid draft if the board falls that way. But fam, if there is a real chance to bring in Dexter Lawrence before any of this, everything changes, and I will take that scenario 10 times out of 10. That is the state of Bear Country heading into draft week. A defensive tackle in New York who wants out and could be the missing piece on this defense. A pass rusher in Las Vegas still haunting the trade wire. A political fight in Springfield deciding whether this team stays in Illinois or becomes something else entirely. And a draft getting closer by the hour. If this video got you fired up, leave a like right now, man. It takes 2 seconds and it means everything for this channel. And in the comments, I need your answer. Do you trade pick 25 for Dexter Lawrence? Yes or no? No excuses, no overthinking it. Just drop it below. Bear down, Chicago.